Hi, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Meet the Populace. My name is Lady Venkatavyani, and I'm your host. Meet the Populace is a series of interviews conducted for the Children of the Dragon Facebook page, featuring the great members of the SCA we have in the Kingdom of Midrealm. Tonight, we're welcoming Lord Seitz Kirbrich. Welcome, Lord Seitz, and thank you for joining us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Currently, I am the Seneschal for the Canton of Rimsholt and Pentamere. I was the Seneschal for Nordheim before we kind of all just folded all together because everybody was playing with everyone. And since I decided to go to the bathroom mid-meeting, I came back and was voted as the Seneschal while I was gone. And I've been the Seneschal for about 3, maybe 4 years.
So, well, that'll teach you to leave in the middle of a meeting.
Exactly. I don't do it anymore.
So, how long have you been in the SCA total?
Ooh, I want to say maybe about 5 or 6 years, maybe, give or take. Something like that, about that. Yeah, my first event was an all thing, I believe. And I got roped into cooking in the kitchen. And I've been doing it since then.
Welcome to the SCA, dude.
Pretty much.
So, how did you find out about the SCA and what got you to stick around?
I had an old friend, Megan Woodman, and we used to work together at the hotel at one of my jobs, and she knows I was a costumer. I used to do it at Grand Valley State University's theater department, making costumes, and she knew I'd made outfits, and it kind of just carried over. And then I started going. I went to an event before I went to a Canton meeting, and it was kind of just, all right, I'm gonna stay here. What we're doing.
Well, welcome. We're glad to have you. So, in the time that you've been in the SCA, what is something that you've learned while you're here? You know, whether it's a craft or a skill or a life lesson.
More of teach it, I guess. Doing all the various crafts, since I try to be a crafty person anyway. You definitely learn a lot of self-confidence in what you do, and the appreciation, because perfectionists, for a lot of us, when we do crafts, we nitpick over it and it's never perfect, but then other people see it and they sometimes they think it's great, they think it's amazing. So it's kind of that self-confidence boost that, when you make something, you may not see it as being perfect or, how you want it, but it's still an amazing thing that you create, and people see that and appreciate it, and it kind of makes you keep going on it and expanding what you do, your craft. And as you develop it, you get better and better until you feel confident that, I made this and it's pretty amazing.
So you feel a sense of encouragement and desire to move on and improve and get better at your skills?
And learn something else, and constantly keep learning. It's never ending.
Wonderful. That's a good thing that I think we all get out of the SCA, is the support and the encouragement to try new things. So, who is someone that has helped influence you since you've started in the SCA? How have they impacted you?
Oh, that's a long list. That's a long list of people. Pretty much most of the Canton of Rimsholt / Nordheim. Lady Thomasette. I don't know. I'm terrible with names. Heather Hemphill, Wendy Peacock, TJ, or excuse me, Thomasette. I'm terrible with names too, because some of them are so long. I can't remember all the names. There's just so many. Most of the Canton, our group, since we hang out so much together, whether we're doing events or not, we really stay together and encourage each other on various random projects. And somehow doing one project involves multiple people, and that have nothing connected but that encouragement on different ways of doing it, different ways of approaching it, kind of really just benefits everything that we're doing, together as a group.
So with that encouragement from all of these local people, that I can attest to the fact that, yeah, they're very strong. They're very encouraging to everyone and everything new they try. Have they been there, how have they helped support you in the seneschal position?
Because they've all been officers before. So doing some of, like, starting meetings, I'm not one of those slam my hand on the table, all right, we're going to start this meeting. It's more like, all right, side conversation, let's get the meeting over with so that we can, play around and have fun, which we always do. But it's more like every once in a while I'll lean over to like Wendy Peacock in the meeting. I'm like, what am I forgetting? She's like, exchequer report. So I'll do it. And then, 20 minutes later, I know I'm forgetting something. She's like, A&S. So it's kind of like when you're doing theater, line, same thing with in the meetings. If Wendy's not there, then I have TJ. If I don't have TJ, I have Heather. It's like, what am I forgetting? They're like, all right, you forgot this. Crap.
So we've had a lot of conversations about this in meetings, and I've had another interview where we talked about this a little bit. There seems to be a shortage recently of people willing to take officer positions in our local groups. So what is something that, if somebody was considering taking an office position, what would be the most important thing you would want them to know?
You're not going to know everything the first time. You're going to mess up. It's not the end of the world. Everything can be fixed very easily, very quickly, just by emailing or asking someone who's done it. Most instances, your predecessor is already in the office and will train you and help you learn how to do the office. You're going to have different views. You're going to want to run it differently than your predecessor. There's nothing wrong with that. The guidelines, I think, for the officers are, try your hardest, do what you can, and if you don't know, ask. And I think that's the biggest thing that puts people off from taking an office is they're worried that they don't know what they're doing, but it's like, you won't know till you ask. And if you're unsure or you mess up, it's not the end of the world. It can be fixed. You're not going to get in trouble for it. You know what I mean? It's very, very, I don't know how to put it. Not helping, but it's kind of along the line. Yeah, it's very easy to do if you have the desire to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's actually a good thing that I think a lot of people don't understand about officer positions. So thank you for sharing that wisdom with us. So now we're going to move on back to you, now that we've talked about your officer duties. So what kind of activities do you find that you gravitate to the most in the STA?
Well, I like alcohol, so I've gotten really good at cordials. During this lovely vacation from work, as I'm calling it, I started making mead. So that will be working, asking a lot of questions to the Midrealm Brew or the Andel Craig Brewing group that we have. So I'm trying out honey mead, honey wine. I started a new batch of cordials and cooking nonstop, of course. And I sew. So it's always finding some different avenue of sewing that I've not done before to just keep expanding on.
Well, I've seen some of your stuff and it's amazing. It truly is. So you're talking to the person who doesn't sew. So it's astounding. So, I've seen some of your cordials floating around, and now that you're starting on mead, is there anything that you would like to learn different than whatever you're working on at the moment? What's holding you back?
Like what I want to do is tobacco. I smoke a lot of cigars. So I'm actually right now starting researching on tobacco and not just how in the 1600s when we had it, but before that, after it came over with Columbus in that period where it was in England and everybody thought everybody was going around smoking, which wasn't the case. And that process, and actually I found the plant that they did have it in that period, so I'm actually going to grow it and create my own examples of what tobacco would have looked like during the period.
Oh, wow.
And then hopefully smoke the cigars after.
2 for 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Call it research, Bian.
It's medical research. Because they did think it was medicinal, so it counts.
So among all of the things that you do and that you've done, what do you feel like you're known for in the SCA?
You set this question up. In West Michigan, I'm known for what's referred to as Bob's Balls. You set this question up. With Jamie Kipp, she's been helping me and teaching me a lot about period cooking. And on a lot of our feasts, we always have fried balls of either cheese or meat or something. And I was always the one at all of Jamie's feasts frying all these different balls. And over time, everyone's like, oh, you got to try Bob's Balls. So they've morphed and changed. And every time I'm cooking, people are always asking, so are we going to get to try Bob's Balls this time?
I will admit, I've tried Bob's Balls.
And they're pretty good.
I think I've actually even got the recipe for your rice balls.
Yeah. Oh, the cooking symposium.
Yes.
I believe, yes. Yep.
Yes, that was a pretty fantastic event, and Bob's Balls were pretty good. So we've talked about what you feel like you're known for, but what would you like to be known for? Is there something different?
I don't know. Sewing my garb. I put a lot of time and effort into it. And I like tackling the ones that are time consuming, that are intricate, and I like people to see that and like, okay, you spent way more time than someone normally should spend on a single project kind of thing. And I like picking projects out like that because it shows patience, it shows skill, it shows ability, and it shows also the willingness to learn more about that project to make it as perfect as I can make it.
Do you have one in mind that you would like to start?
Oh, yes. I have a tapestry that I want to start working on that is entirely done with the embroidery style of Opus Anglicanum, I think. I always pronounce that wrong. But it's the raised embroidery that was very big during the medieval period with a lot of Catholic tapestries. Very time-consuming, very tedious project, and it's going to be done on velvet, so it's even more tedious, but it's kind of like that project I'm scared to start it, so it's just sitting in my craft room, staring at me, like, come on, you want to do it.
If fabric could look at you accusatory, it would be.
Oh, I know. I have so much of it, too, and I keep buying more.
That seems to be a common problem in the SC. I hear that story a lot.
Right.
Although at this point, it's probably a lot of people are probably glad they've got that fabric stashed, so they have something to do.
The trick is actually doing it, because the weather's so nice. I'm gonna sit outside. Can't sew outside, but I'll still do it.
So, you're a seneschal now, sir, and you've been involved in a lot of events. You've been in the planning, you've been in the cooking, you've been in the organizing. If you could pitch an event, what kind of event would you like to pitch and why? Tell us about it.
Will I what?
If you could pitch an event to somebody.
Actually, I've been working on trying to do one because in West Michigan, we don't have a lot, in Pinchmere, we don't have a lot of feasts, but we have a lot of cookers in West Michigan. A lot of people that are very skilled at cooking. So Rimsholt's kind of hopefully looking to do another cooking symposium that is in a somewhat larger venue that can get more cookers and kind of making it a regular thing. And hopefully we can include brewers, people who brew, and any kind of cooking related skill, because cooking is not just what you can do pots and pans. There's clay, people who cook in clay ovens, clay pot cooking, which is something I hopefully want to do. There's preservation. You can preserving all kind. I found a new way of preserving meat where you preserve it in fat instead of with a brine or a liquid of sorts. Yeah, I know. Weird. We're hoping to do a fall event where it's focusing on the fall harvest, and we're going to try to have a feast that's fall related. So squashes, that kind of thing that were really popular in the fall period, but because you don't see too many feasts with squash in them either. That's the thing. So we're trying new things and new ideas on events to keep it fresh and keep people interested in wanting to come out, especially with this vacation of ours. Everybody's going to be jonesing to go to an event now.
Get out and do something. Yes.
Yes.
Keep people. So, we were talking earlier about, life lessons and things we've learned. What is something that you would like others to learn from the SCA?
Patience. A lot of people don't have patience. And even in the SCA, especially right now, a lot of these large events, we have an older generation of the SCA who doesn't like change. And we have a newer generation who likes change and wants the older generation to embrace it, and the older generation is stubborn in embracing it. We have to modernize. We have to think of new ways to get members to come in, to try to focus, to play, and we can't push so much. You have to pay to play. That's the big thing. It's like you can come to an event, you can try it out if you pay the troll to fully experience it. But I think that's, we lose people when we're like, oh, well, you have to pay, you have to pay money to come in. That's not the case. You have shadowlings. They can tour people around events. We've had it at last year's border where we had people stop over, they got a tour around, and then they ended up paying troll to stay and hang out for the day. It's that kind of thing that if we seem welcoming, then more people are going to be, hey, let's go look at this and see what it's about. And hopefully they get the encouragement to actually learn and research and expand their knowledge and help others do the same thing.
So it sounds like in addition to patience, we also need to find a common ground.
Yeah, we do.
All right. Well, we're getting close on time. So there is one question that I ask everybody at the end of these interviews, and that is, if you could nominate somebody for a Meet the Populace interview, who would it be and why?
Oh, let me see. John Cornell. I can't think of his Scadian name, but John Cornell. I want to hear his story.
Okay, tell me a story. Oh, you want to
I want to hear his story, yeah, because he's got a change that he's had to do within the SCA in order to keep in it because of health reasons. He's one of those fighters that loves fighting, but because of his health or something related to it, he can't fight anymore. So now he's got to find that new path within the SCA in order to stay and enjoy it and still feel as though he's a part of it, even though he can't fight, which is his passion.
Okay. Well, I will send him a message and see if he'd be willing to appear on a Meet the Populace interview.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you again for appearing with us. I want to thank our audience for tuning in again. This has been our interview with Seitz Kirbrich. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's close.
Close enough.
Close enough.
All right. Thank you again for tuning in. And if you would like to nominate somebody for a Meet the Populace interview, please send their name to the email address on the bottom of your screen. Also, if you have any questions or anything that you would like to know about other members, please send that information to Meet the Populace, and we'll see if we can't work those into an interview. Once again, my name is Lady Venkatavyani, and thank you so much for supporting Meet the Populace and Children of the Dragon. Thank you, Lord Seitz, and you have a good evening.
You as well.